continued from where he left off from 3. From ice tray down here, Atlanta just ice cold. This reminiscent of the Rockets was at 27 in a row, I think it was, right? The end of that series last year. Meanwhile, Kemba Walker, not such issues, Grant Hill.
Kemba Walker, that's home. That's his home spot, and he can get going. And I love how they find him, catch and shoot in transition. When he's hot, you got to keep feeding him, and they did that, and he kept delivering.
Rocking the pinstripes, 18 in the second quarter. Lead was 7 at the break. Harden was 0 for 22 from 3, and says, well, thank you, finally. Gets one. Now 2s are good, too. He did have 30 points. Took 29 shots, hit only 10. Lead was 3. Final seconds of the quarter. Marvin Williams. And it goes. Oh, there we go. Okay. Haywood, if you're watching at home, there's a UNC legend for you. CP3, though, legend himself, obviously. A big night. Scoring the post and the pull-up here, Coach.
He's one of the best guys coming off that screen, find that little spot where he wants to get to, and then he just, at least against us, never seemed to miss it.
Look at Kemba through 4 guys at 35. What a season he has had. But Capella being back, all the difference with Houston.
Yeah, great chemistry, great finisher down low. Capella getting back is important to their success moving forward.
And to James's, too. Forget the point streak. Those two working together. Capella had 23 and 17. CP3, double-double with 10 assists. Here he is after a big win on the road.
Yeah, it helps. But, I mean, to start the second half, I told Coach, let me guard Kemba. You know what I mean? I was like, I went up to Gordy before the third quarter. It was like, get aggressive because I'm going to guard him. Because, I mean, I'd rather not, you know what I mean, as much as possible. But, you know, I also like playing defense.
So Chris Paul and the Rockets get a win. Dame's had some of those. Meanwhile, not a win, social media or the floor. Last game for Kyrie. What kind of looks would they be given now off the bench? Good ones here for Jaylen Brown. Puts it on Jake Layman.
Yeah, nice little in and out transition, and of course the strong finish.
Strong finish, starts, middle. Again, another huge season for Dame Lillard. Baseline Jay, too much space, lead is 5. 43-38, and then some creativity. What else is new, Coach, from Kyrie?
Well, who handles the ball has better control in this league than Kyrie. He's a magician with the basketball in his hands and his ability to finish.
Lead 1 at the break. Portland up 43-42. Dame says, let me see what I can do about that, and gets hot. He had 16 in the quarter off the halftime break.
And Casey, Dame Lillard, a guy who can get hot, one of the best, pulling up, getting to the basket, having big quarters, which he had here against the Celtics.
Not done past Al Horford. Not able to get enough of a hand on that. 74-64 after 3. Celtics, though, rest of the team not running down the court, but there's Marcus Smart. He is always going to hustle. Drives in for the lay-in, lead is 4. How about the development of Nurkic? Not only with the talking, but the playing, Coach, had 16 in the game.
Nurkic is going to be such an important factor as they get to the playoffs and to see how far they can last.
Kyrie to the rack, he had 31, but not to be outdone by Dame. 33-7 rebounds, 4 assists. More importantly, 4 straight losses, first time all year for Boston. So, players, negative comments, leadership questions, what's going on, and all of a sudden not so rosy for the Celtics and their head coach, Brad Stevens.
I think we're desperate for a win and to feel good about ourselves. I said, you feel a lot better leaving the night, but it doesn't feel much better because you didn't win. And I think we need to stay in the moment, stay in the day, and that time will come when that time comes, and wherever we are, we'll play.
What's your confidence level in the team going forward?
What do you mean?
Just in terms of, you got
what kind of question is that?
A legitimate question. I mean,
Nah.
How do you feel about this team?
Next question.
Sometimes you give the answer to a question by not giving the answer to the question. I mean, look, I think for most of us, if it's not an issue, it's not an issue. There's an issue. I mean, look, Kyrie, Morris, then, Danny's in the locker room. There were rumors about that and what's going on. I want to start with Coach because Brad Stevens brilliant, such a good human being, working with people, X's and O's, all of that. But guess what? Now you're in Boston. The team looks like a disappointment, looks sort of dysfunctional at times. A lot of pressure right now on Brad Stevens, right?
This is something new for Brad Stevens. Since he's come into the NBA, it's been a steady climb upward. He's been the golden boy, coming in, draws great plays, coming out of timeouts. The team on a steady ride up. Development of the young players last year, the great run with 2 All-Stars out, okay, Hayward and Kyrie, yet the young guys took them to the final moment of the Eastern Conference against Cleveland. So all this has been a plus. All this has been Brad Stevens showing what a great coach he is. But now he had to face the same pressure that the team is facing. The expectation level going into the season was Boston's maybe the best team in the Eastern Conference. Boston will be in the finals. And now because of all the things that have gone on there, and because of the pressure of being in that favorite role, he has to deal with that as well. Not only does he have to continue to coach and teach and develop, but then he has to handle the locker room, what's going on in the locker room, handle the media, and try and keep all that calm as they lose games. Remember, when you lose one game, maybe 2 in a row, you're not answering negative questions for a long period of time. When you get to the 4th loss in a row, you start to say the same things over and over again, and it becomes tougher for the players. They don't want to answer tough questions.
Yeah, look, when Kyrie wanted to separate from LeBron, whatever happened or didn't, wanted that opportunity to then lead, right? He's talked about, hey, thanking LeBron, understanding now how difficult that is. That question, though, of whose team it is it fair or not to still keep asking that, to Coach's point, G, when you think about what Tatum was and those kids like Rozier, and really nobody finding that role that they're supposed to have. I think Hayward took 3 shots overall in 27 minutes tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this team is a bit disjointed. And just, you know, it's interesting. I thought, obviously, this time last year, Kyrie had been playing. The younger guys were in different roles. And obviously, once he left, they went to the playoffs. They had to learn to play together. Everyone stepped their play up, and they were fantastic. And so it's now you have, you know, a Kyrie Irving coming back, you add a Gordon Hayward who's trying to find his way, and you have players who've tasted some success, and and so it's just trying to make all that work. We all kind of felt it would take some time, but I think by now you felt like they would have figured it out. And instead of coming together as a group, it appears as if they're sort of fragmenting. And that's alarming. I was at the game. I did the game last night in Toronto. They came out in that first quarter. They played them tough and then just sort of imploded there in the second quarter. The body language, the spirit, the lack of energy and enthusiasm against the team that you may see in the conference finals or in the playoff run, a Toronto Raptors team. You think they would circle the calendar and be ready for that game. And so, you know, there's an expression somebody said the other day, it's not X's and O's, it's Jacks and Joes. And I just feel like that locker room is just, it's not together. And they need to figure that out quickly. They need to figure it out, or if not, they won't fare well in the postseason, and that roster may look different going into next year.
In Golden State, why have guys fit into the culture? Everybody knows, hey, look, the role is whatever role it is that night to help the team win, right? That's why they move the ball so well. Celtics don't seem to have that kind of feel. It'll be interesting because guess what the Bucks do? Toronto seems to. And Philadelphia finding more of that too with Tobias Harris as well, even without Embiid. Speaking of Bud Ball and Milwaukee, how about Malcolm Brogdon and company? Were they the Kings on this night?
Warriors make their second stop of a 4-game trip east tonight as they hit South Florida. Golden State has won 18 of their last 21 games. So for all the nitpicking about what works and what doesn't work with the new lineup, which won't include DeMarcus Cousins, he's out tonight resting, they're still really, really, really good. And taking on a Heat team that has sort of inexplicably lost 6 in a row on their home floor. Weird. Maybe they got to go back to their regular colors on that home floor.
I agree.
Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. I'm not saying it is, but worth a try. Let's hear from head coach Steve Kerr.
Yeah, Loon's going to start for DeMarcus.
Second, the last time you played the Heat, that was just a 2-point game. What do you remember reviewing on tape about how you like to play?
They kicked our butts last game. They really did. We had to play really well down the stretch to win the game, but they were more physical, better defensively, smarter offensively. They outplayed us, so we were fortunate to get out of there. and I'm hoping that the fact that it's so fresh on our minds, it's only 2 weeks ago, that our guys will remember how hard you have to beat this team. And it's always been the case since as long as I can remember. They have an identity, and that identity is, they're physical, they're tough, they're going to get after you, they're going to defend, rebound. So we've got to be ready for that.
Steph's had somewhat of a quiet month, kind of in February. How much of that do you think is just random? How much do you think trying to integrate into Marcus is maybe?
It feels more random to me. It doesn't feel like there's anything different about the way we're playing or the way he's playing. Just every player kind of goes through stretches where maybe things don't go quite as well. But you know the drill with Steph. I mean, as soon as you think, oh man, he's in a little rut, he's going to make 10 threes, and you're going to forget about it.
Steve, have you guys already decided you're going to sit tomorrow?
No decisions have been made on tomorrow night. I know DeMarcus will play tomorrow, but nothing else has been decided.
Jordan's feeling better?
Yeah, he's feeling a lot better. He's kept food down and lots of fluids, and so he'll be ready to go tonight.
Steve, at what point do you start thinking? I know you said this morning, well, it's going to be based on matchups anyway, but so at what point do you start shifting your thinking toward playoffs and rotations?
Not now. We still have a quarter of the season left, and we're just trying to get better. And as we get closer to the playoffs, maybe we'll have an eye towards who's in our rotation and combinations and that stuff. But right now, we're just getting through the regular season and dealing with an absence here and there, like DeMarcus tonight, and trying to get better, trying to take care of all the details that we need to be better with.
Steve, what is that? What are some of the things you're trying to get better at before the playoffs?
Well, boxing out. I mean, you were there 2 weeks ago. I think the Heat, at the end of the first quarter, it was 19-4 on the glass, I believe. It's like 7-1 on the offensive glass after 5 minutes. The tape doesn't lie. They would shoot and we would just turn and watch, and Whiteside was in there. Everybody was in there, just creating second chance opportunities. So, that's a big one. Transition defense has been a problem for us. Defending too aggressively and fouling the other night was a problem in Charlotte. So, we got a lot of things to work on.
How important is the #1 seed in the West for you guys?
We'd like to get it. I mean, it will never be a priority over health going into the playoffs. Health is always #1, but we're right there. And assuming we're healthy, we'd like to get it and have home court.
Steve, with the guys.
More coming up here on Game Time Live. We talked about Boston's issues in LA. The league's other historical glamour franchise has its own problems. What it'll take for the Lakers ship to stay afloat next. Saw the LA Lakers, they were losing Monday in Memphis. Late in the game, LeBron James had an air ball. There was a charge call as well. They gave up 30 to Mike Conley, and they got very little help from the bench, which produced just 7 points collectively. Later, LeBron left many of us trying to decode the Kings' post-game commentary.
Just stay positive. That's, starts with me. Just got to stay positive, keep knocking on the door. And I feel like if we play like we did tonight, then we got to continue that consistent effort. We'll get us over the hump as we make this push. So, this is a tough loss. Obviously, I'm replaying plays throughout my mind right now. It's tough, but just stay positive and just, keep watching the film. Obviously, we're not going to have much on the court practice time because we're playing every other day this week. But, the film session is going to be very key, and how well you can take care. You got to take care of your body starting tonight because the games are coming. That's what it's about. At this point, if you are still allowing distractions to affect you, the way you play, then this is the wrong franchise to be a part of, and you should just come and be like, listen, I can't do this. Like, seriously, if you're distracted by playoff pushes and then all the stuff that's been talked about this year, just come and do your job. We do our job at a high level, and that's not a distraction. That's what you want. That's what you want. Every game, you want to feel like you're fighting for something.
Those comments have been scrutinized to death over the last 48 hours or so. At the moment, the Lakers sit 11th in the West, 3 back of the San Antonio Spurs. So doing the math here, They'd have to go 15-7 to reach 44 wins, which is the pace San Antonio is on at the moment. That means they'd have to go 16-6 to get to 45 wins, or 17-5 to get to 46 wins, which is what it took to get the 8th spot in last year's playoffs. Make of that what you will. LeBron today, that was from Monday night, repeated today in some form of "I like where we are" 8 times in 7 minutes during his media availability this morning. How about you guys? Do you like where they are right now?
Not 11th. Now, if you're a Laker fan, not at all, because the reason why is this is a team, when you start to watch these games after All-Star break, this is where you want to make their push. They've lost to 2 teams you shouldn't have lost to, the Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies.
Pelicans without Davis.
Without Davis. Yep. And the way they lost, it comes down, this team can score. This team has talent. They have to defend an effort, and I'm not getting a chance to see this. They are having some lapses on the defensive end, and a lot of it is LeBron James. He's going to have to lead this team defensively, in my opinion, Sekou, for them to get back and to be able to have a chance. And this is right here. This is DeLon Wright coming down. You're setting up for a charge for DeLon Wright, no problem, but you got to make the next effort. That's not a dunker, Joakim Noah. Now, look at the distance he's away from his guy, and watch Lance Stevens over there. No one's on the same page. You're putting up your hands right now, and everybody's looking. When you get 3, 4, 5 guys bench on a court and coaches going, there's sometimes, Matt, we can do everything right. I rotate right to you, and you hit it. You go, man, I did everything right.
Right.
But when I'm this far away from you and no one knows the rotations, where you gotta know rotation, especially on a team like that with LeBron James. You can play fantastic defense,
right,
and you go, I just gotta pat Matt on the back. He's hot tonight. We were there. No, guys are getting wide open shots, and everybody's doing like this and looking at each other and pointing at each other. That's a problem right now for the Lakers.
You hear teams all the time talk about playing on a string defensively. All our guys are connected defensively. This is the most disconnected defensive outfit that I've seen all season in terms of a team that was supposed to be in the playoff mix as of Christmas in that top 4 in the West, and literally the bottom has fallen out. You can blame whatever you want, but they're watching film, Smitty, the next day, just like we are. They're watching these cuts, and they see the lack of effort. And if it starts with LeBron, if you're the leader, the ringleader of this team, you're the guy that everybody's going to in that locker room, that shoot around, first microphone, first camera's in his face every day. If you're not going to lead by example, it's going to be very tough for you to say anything after these games when you know Kyle Kuzma is watching the same film. You know Brandon Ingram, Lance Stevenson, everybody on this roster, Matt, Smitty, they're watching the exact same film. The helpless routine, it doesn't lie on film, and it permeates an entire group. And I think LeBron has to be very careful about what he says now these last 20-plus games. You have to be careful that you're not speaking into existence some of the issues that you're warning against. These guys need somebody to uplift them. They need somebody to blow confidence into them as a young group, because your young guys are the ones you're counting on for the energy. And Ingram and Kuzma, to their credit, have responded. But you need somebody to blow some positive energy into this group. And they need a 3 or 4 game stretch where they reel off some wins. The problem is the games that on paper look like they would be opportunities for that have turned out not to be.
Right.
They got lumped up by the Hawks. They've allowed some teams who weren't supposed to do what they did to them to really derail this stretch run of the season. You got to be careful now, because now you got all these other forces, outside forces, playing on a pressure-packed situation for a group of guys that LeBron keeps reminding us have never been here before. They don't understand how to fight and be in the moment.
Well, that's the preseason, Matt.
Good.
The reality show. It's a reality show, and it's still going to be a reality show, and it brings in more people now when you're losing it. Now, look at it. We talked about it. We all know Luke Walton was on the hot seat real early in the season. I don't know how much he's engaged of what's going on. All these guys been mentioned. The entire roster was mentioned in the trade. So those guys are young. Sekou said it best. You got to find a way right now is we got to get stops. Stops, energy, effort, like each other, and play hard. They're not playing extremely hard right now on the defensive end.
Well, I know they missed Lonzo Ball defensively, of course, and he's going to miss his 14th straight game with that ankle injury. But this was a basically average defensive team before LeBron came back. They were 13th in the league in defensive rating. But in the 8 games since he returned, 28th in the league in defense. All right, more coming up here. First, a check of the TNT schedule tomorrow night. It is Wednesday, right? Tomorrow night. Sometimes I lose track.
It is
Sixers and the Thunder. It was a great game. Thunder Nuggets last night. You see both those teams, although not together. Sixers Thunder at 8 Eastern time. Jazz and those Denver Nuggets. Boy, were they fun last night. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern right here on NBA TV.